Okay, so I got a chance to check out the new Gerard Butler action thriller film Last Seen Alive, and this is exactly what you think it's going to be. This is your standard, typical, generic, run-in-the-mill action thriller film starring Gerard Butler. And the film doesn't really try to do much outside of that. Um, we've seen this story, we've seen this premise done a zillion times in the action genre, and I can point out at least two to three Gerard Butler films that have this exact same story and where Gerard Butler is better in it. Because while Gerard Butler, he is entertaining to watch. He's a very likable actor, and he does a good job in these rampage type characters here, these father figures. He is good in those roles, but in this one, I felt like he was kind of a waste. Like, he's the most entertaining part of the movie, but he just doesn't really do much to elevate the movie that much. Um, all of the surprises, I guess the so-called twist at the end of the movie, that's right, bunny ears. Um, the twist at the end of this movie, it's very obvious in the first 15 to 20 minutes of this movie who's doing it and who's in on this whole kidnapping that's going on. It's so obvious. So the movie is not trying to hide that from you, because just with certain dialogue that's being spoken from the characters, um, you know exactly who's in on this. Um, and this film isn't really an action film. Like, calling it an action flick is more of an understatement, because what this movie really is, it's a thriller mystery with a Gerard Butler in it. Because for the most part, he's driving around a lot of the time. There's a lot of investigating going down in the film with the cops. And the action scenes are so far and in between here. Like, there's a few sprinkled, throughout the film. There's maybe 6 minutes of action. If I'm just taking a guess, there's like 6 minutes of action out of like a 90-minute runtime, which there's a very little portion of actual shootouts and explosions that you will see in the film. The climax was entertaining. Definitely not the best, third act I've seen in a Gerard Butler action film. But, it was this film. Like, I'll put it this way: while you're in the theater watching this, like, it's a good time. You're having fun watching Gerard Butler go mad and do what Gerard Butler does well. But then when you walk out of the theater, like, you just think of like 10 other different action movies that are better than the action movie that you just saw. But, like, do I feel like I wasted my time watching this movie? Yes and no. Like, I'm glad I saw the movie, like, for like a once-off viewing. It's not a movie I can see myself ever watching again. Um, But yeah, if you want to watch, an action film starring Gerard Butler, like, you have a whole career of him doing action films. Just go choose any of them. Like, any of those, like, 35 movies he's done are better than this one. So yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, this movie was forgettable to me.